to Fanatically Correct. Brought to you by us, fans like you, but mostly us.
You'll join us. Strong man as strong as alone. You ever heard that?
Ever hear of Superman? He died fighting next to me.
My point exactly.
He believed we were stronger together. We owe it to him.
I don't owe anyone anything. Dressed like a bat. You're out of your mind, Bruce Wayne.
In a dark corner of the world, three men will work together to bring you a podcast like no other. This is Fanatically Correct, where the fans, the geeks, and the nerds are always correct. With your host, MSK, Yo Peace, and Omega.
First of all, and I'm going to use this to introduce ourselves. Warning ahead of time, because I don't know how much editing MSK is going to be able to do, because this could possibly go off the rails.
Hasn't done any editing on the show.
So if Batman and
so it's like episode 10.
Yeah. So anyways, if Batman can curse and other characters in this movie can curse, there's a possibility that myself, Omega, MSK, and Yo Peace might curse in this episode.
I'm telling you right now, I'm going to cuss. I'm telling you right now, there will be times that the cuss will come at random times.
You listen to this with kids. Some people listen to it with the kids.
So you're getting your warning now. We're talking about a rated R movie, so this is probably gonna be a rated R episode.
I can tell you. I can tell you that I would try to hold back. That's all I can tell you. I would try.
I'm gonna make another promise. But to start us off, I'm your host. Let's get this over with. I'm your host, Omega.
Why are you doing that?
MSK.
Why are you doing? What is Aquaman around you right now? Is Aquaman around you? But you gotta sing. You can't just do that. You gotta sing something. You can't just do that. Can you please sing?
Yeah, you gotta.
That's added in post, man. Come on. That's added in post. You know how this works.
Added in post. We'll get this. So Omega, MSK, Yo Peace, we might there's gonna be some cursing, and like Yo Peace said, he's gonna try. I'm gonna tell you, speaking of try, we're gonna try to be nice. We are talking about
Stop. Hold on. I'm gonna stop you right there. Because you guys are not gonna try to be nice. All right. Just try. Say what you feel.
I'm using the
Yo
word
Peace,
try.
I know you're gonna say what you feel. Okay.
Thank you.
I know Omega. You might try. You might think you're trying, but you're not trying. Just say what you feel, man. Just go with it.
Well,
and I'll edit this down to.
You're
10
not
minutes.
going to edit
So
that leads
go ahead.
me into our starting point. This is Zack Snyder's Justice League, the FanCor cut, part 1. The rant,
bro.
Here comes my rant.
I'm not doing that.
No.
I'm not splitting this up. So go.
I'm telling you this right now. I'm gonna go into something first to get this rant part out of the way, which is there's a lot of advantages that this film is having right now with fandom, because number one, you have a complete piece of crap version to directly compare it to. Most movies don't get that. So that's number one. And on that note, studios need to get over their insanity already with the not letting the director have control and doing director's cuts, because 9 out of 10 times, most people say, what about the director's cut? Better than the theatrical cut.
Yeah, most
of the time.
Yeah, of course.
So
that's why they should let the director do their thing.
Yeah, I think they do it so they can double up on the money on the film, but I think they'd rather make the money in the box office by people watching a movie over and over again because they like it better than people watching once like, that was garbage, and like, hey, you know what? They should have done the director's cut. It was better. Like here, I mean, this, as far as the fandom on social media and the internet, and I'm gonna get into that in a second. It probably would have made more money in the box office if it was this version as opposed to the one that did go into theaters.
I agree.
So.
Yeah, I actually have a theory. I have a theory that if they would have just let him do what he envisioned, right, it wouldn't have been 4 hours long either. I think he made the 4 hour long thing kind of like okay. Well, you know what? the fans want this.
Yeah, I'm going
to make it longer than I wanted it to be before. So there you go.
And especially the epilogue stuff, because we know the epilogue stuff that he reshot after was because he's not going to get any more movies. So he's like, well, let me throw this thing out there to kind of give a glimpse of what I wanted to beef up on the storyline for the next. You
don't know if he is going to get more or not. Let's just be.
Well, and I'm going to get into that too. So that being said, you also have, for different reasons, and we don't need to get into detail because we don't care about that, especially on this podcast. There's a lot of hate for the Justice League because of Joss Whedon. So that helps too. Not only do people have a piece of crap to compare to directly, they also have a lot of hate, industry wise and popularity wise for the guy who took over and finished that other product.
Yeah.
On top of that, you're also in the middle of a pandemic where people are still in a lot of areas closed up. You have to watch things on TV all day because you're still not going out or afraid to go out or not vaccinated yet for a lot of reasons, staying safe. So you have that hype of just getting new content in a film version of superheroes or whatnot. Like there's so many benefits going the way. Oh yeah,
that's why it worked out. I mean, that's why it worked out for him.
Exactly, and I think that's even the main reason why it happened. Besides HBO Max, flipping most of the bill. Now, the thing I was going to get to about, because what Yopi's just said about the maybe he's going to get more, and that was my whole thing about the social media and everyone loving it. And there's a thing that aggravates me with social media algorithms. And it's trash, and people have to understand that it's trash. 100,000 people saying the same thing over and over again, every 5 minutes on a platform is not the same as millions of people saying it once. Obviously, more people feel one way. You just have a smaller group of people who can't shut up about something. So now again, here we got this trending for Save the Snyderverse, probably the same way he got to redo this movie. It's a lot of people
Lord save me.
In a smaller group nonstop saying the same thing over and over and over.
I just want 2 hours out of my life back. That's what I want. So there's 2 hours taken away from me, and I want it back. Now,
in fairness, if he makes more, I will watch more. And just like this one, there will be things I will enjoy. I'm sure of it, because that's the Zack Snyder MO with particularly the DC property, without Christopher Nolan completely hovering over his shoulder and making a lot of the bigger decisions, of having great moments, great scenes, great visuals, but probably not going to be a well put together package when it's all said and done. So that's the opening rant as far as that goes. Now we'll try to be nice if possible. Do either of you have something specific?
I honestly thought that was you being as nice as you can. So I think that was. I mean, I want to see what the rest of the niceness is going to be.
That's the most positive thing I've heard.
That's the most positive thing you were going to say for sure. So, go ahead, Yopis. Go ahead. Just do it,
I'm not talking right now. I think it's your turn, sir.
Okay, okay. We'll start with some positive, no joke, seriously, because I have it on the side screen right now and I'm looking at it. And one thing I can say, something I complained about first, and I complained about it on Instagram, and I complained with you guys, and I'm still going to continue to complain about it. There's just one little about it right now, so I'm going to go good first. I'm watching it on my wife's iPad, and the formatting looks beautiful. It fits this iPad perfectly, and it looks damn good on this tablet.
It's just your iPad just auto formatted it, man. And like I told you, and I knew you were going to do it.
It auto formatted it much better than my TV does, because it looked like trash when I tried to format it on my TV. So then I had to watch it for 4 freaking hours with a third of my TV gone.
May I come in now and ask you, why do you or anyone out there needs to format their TV for a movie?
I agree.
Please explain to me.
No, you know what? They shouldn't. I don't understand why they even released it like that.
They couldn't pre-format it. Sorry. Go ahead, MSK.
No. I agree. They shouldn't have released it. And a lot of people are saying, why did you release it? For it's for IMAX.
Yeah.
But no one has an IMAX projector or screen or anything in their house, so that doesn't make any sense. But really, that's the least of my issues with the movie. And I know that's the least of your issues.
That's just the
movie,
opening thing, because you start watching the movie, you're like, all right, okay, I guess they're doing this for, and we'll get obviously no spoiler warnings. We're going to spoil the crap out of this movie as we talk about it. Right out the gate, we have the Superman scream. So I'm like, all right, this is like a little artsy thing for this moment or whatever. And then I'm like, you know what? I've seen this movie before, more or less. Let me glimpse a little bit and make sure, because this is getting kind of long, and he's not changing the format yet. And then I just kind of skimmed a little bit and went, oh, okay, great. I got 4 hours of this. Thank you. Thank you for that. So already a star lost just for the fact that, I couldn't fix that.
And what did you think about that opening scene?
On my TV. So I'm sorry.
What did
you think about that opening scene?
Me, myself?
The format? Your piece?
Not the format. No, the actual scene, the opening scene of the Snyder Cut.
The Superman screen. Well, yeah. Okay, personally on my end, and then you guys say your cut. Personally on my end, I thought that was somewhat cool. I liked the look of it and the way they showed the shockwave and it, woke up the mother boxes now storyline wise. So Superman is in his 30s. What happened to the other thousands of years that there was no Kryptonian on this planet? Now that Superman's dead, now we can go take over Earth. He wasn't around for thousands of years. Millions of years, possibly. From the last time they tried and fought the Amazonians.
I don't think it was. I'm going to say, because here's some positive on it. I'm going to say that I don't think that they tried, that he was going for that. He was going for there's no more Superman, now we can take over. I think what he tried to say was that the death of Superman was so powerful that it ended up waking it up. I think that's how I'm going to see it. I don't think I'm going...
Steppenwolf says it. Steppenwolf says it. He says there's no Kryptonian. There's no, which he lied on the second part because there was. He said no heroes. There was. There's still the Amazon, the Themyscira and Atlantis and all that.
Right.
But he says the first thing he says no Kryptonian. So on top of that, somehow they knew about the Kryptonians. Like the Kryptonian was on the planet for 30.
Remember, at this point, this was before Wonder Woman 1984. So remember, at this point, she is not known, right? Wonder Woman is still kind of like hidden, which is really crazy because it makes Wonder Woman 1984 make no sense.
Yeah, but regardless, Steppenwolf knows about the Kryptonian, and
because
if he was keeping tabs on the planet, he should have known there was no Kryptonian for a very long time before that.
It's like it started a signal. What Yopis is saying is like it kind of gave out a signal.
That's how I try to take it. But I still kind of see that it's not the best explained possible plot hole. At least if he didn't say in that dialogue later the thing about no Kryptonian, he shouldn't have mentioned that. That shouldn't have been a statement.
What we can take from it is obviously we know that they pretty much they go over major planets and they take over these planets, and I'm only gonna assume that Kryptonians have been one of those planets that always gave them the hardest time.
But they're not super in their planet. Kryptonians are regular Kryptonians in their planet.
Well, let's just say at this point he already knew that there was a Kryptonian because of the stuff that happened with Zod.
Not there anymore.
It wasn't well explained. That's my whole point. They threw that in there, and I think it would have been clearer for which, because I agree. I feel it is what you guys are saying, and that makes more sense. That death of Superman is so powerful, and then that scream and that did something that woke up the mother boxes, and it probably would have been better clarified if he said something awoke it, and apparently it was their greatest hero who's no longer with them or something.
Let's just admit it was a cool shot.
The way I'm taking it is that Earth was already under kind of like they were already watching Earth because of everything that was happening with Superman and Zod and Wonder Woman and all these people. They're already watching Earth. Now when he dies, the mother box itself is like, oh crap, right?
Maybe this is sending out a signal. The strongest being on this planet is done.
And he's not there no more. And he's no longer here.
Exactly. Yeah.
And speaking of Zod, I want to get this over with. Hold on. I want to get a quick Zod thing over with. The greatest villain in all of this universe, DC villains. Greater than every one of them presented in this universe. And overall comic books, whatever, I wouldn't even compare him to Darkseid. But in this universe, the best presented villain is Zod. Hands down, suck it, all you Steppenwolf, Darkseid lovers from this cut. Zod is better than both of them combined.
Are people saying otherwise though? Are people saying otherwise of that?
As far as the presentation, sorry,
I'm not going to disagree with you.
I don't think anyone's disagreeing with. I don't know. Maybe you read something online, but I don't. I'm not reading anything online about that.
I can guarantee you there are going to be people disagreeing with him.
Man, I got to tell you. Okay, here's the big positive, because you brought up the Superman scream, and I'll give a good positive. And I have it on the side here. I'm looking at it. Everything does look so much better than the original garbage.
Oh yes.
Well, that's what I was getting at. Now his mustache removal thing was terrible in the Joss cut.
That was great.
So when this one opened up, it really was kind of a relief because it started off with his death. the thing that Snyder kind of does now is he did it with Watchmen because it fits perfectly with Watchmen, the mellow music that matches the death scenes and stuff like that. It doesn't match with the Justice League movie, but I did dig the opening scene for this version of it.
Okay, but let's be realistic. Now that we're here, everybody listening, now that we're here. You said it. Ballads. Love it. Love every single ballad about it. Not really. Let me tell you something. Those 2 hours of ballads, I want those 2 hours back, Snyder. I don't know how you're gonna pay me. I don't know how you're gonna pay me, but I need my 2 hours back somehow. Yeah, maybe you can pay my internet for at least a month, 2 months. I don't know, but 2 hours is a lot of gigabytes of ballads. And
on the ballad thing,
so let's talk. Let's talk. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, let's talk about it. That's why I brought it up. So let's do it.
Yo piece, obviously, that's why you brought it up because he's in the chat. He's been making the joke, and he actually got it from Mrs. Yo Piece or Jenny on the book from the book on Instagram where we chatted about this the first time, the whole concept of the ballads. And I actually said to my barber more or less that joke. It was my cousin, and he hadn't seen it yet. And I told him, I go, well, because he's older than me and by 10 years. So I was like, hey, when you're growing up in the 80s and early 90s, did you really enjoy the rock ballad music videos on MTV and stuff? And he's like, oh yeah, I guess when I was growing up, like, oh, then you'll probably love Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah, I think it's not even like rock ballads, man. To me, when that first Aquaman scene was, I automatically thought of Enya.
All right, hold on. Let me bring up this point because we're gonna really get into that Aquaman scene.
Listen, you just no. I listen to what I just said. It reminded me of Enya.
Enya, I know Enya.
All right. So it's not like a rock ballad. Like I was like, sail away, ballad. And like she's like smelling. Like I was just like, or Yanni or something like that. You get what I'm saying? Like I was just like, this isn't. First of all, why is that scene there?
I'll tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why right now. In IMDb, Zack Snyder. So I was trying to get some notes to say some positive things. And in looking for our necessity at the end of the episode, I was trying to go something off the beaten path and see if maybe he's done something else that I'm not very familiar with or not realized that he was part of. Well, and as I IMDb him and I start going through his directorial items and this is funny because Yopi has already made this joke recently about the Batman. His most recent music video that he directed was My Chemical Romance, Desolation Row. Hold on, we're still going. Then before that, he did Morrissey, Oya Esteban. Before that, he did Rod Stewart, Leave Virginia Alone. Before that, ZZ Top, World of Swirl. Before that, Soul Asylum, Somebody to Shove. Before that, Morrissey, Tomorrow. Before that, Peter Murphy, You're So Close.
Look at that.
Before that, and now we're getting 1989. We're talking about some real rock ballad.
Man.
Lizzie Borden, Love is a Crime.
What is going on?
Yeah, he's been around for a while. Yeah, clearly he has background in music and music videos.
We don't care. Like no one cares about that. But
it's just it doesn't match with Justice League.
This is not a movie for that.
Yeah,
this is not.
Yeah, it's not. And like what I was trying to bring up earlier, he did that also in Watchmen, where it's like a mellow, slow mo. But you know what, Watchmen, it called for it. Like it
worked in Watchmen.
It works perfectly well. Yeah,
that works.
It just doesn't
Watchmen.
work for Justice League.
It worked. It's for what it is, and that's the whole thing too. Is like it's the rated R, dark, overly. Here I say overly, but not overly, but intensely artistic viewpoint. And Watchmen works because number one, it's not as popular of a comic book franchise to the movie-going masses. On top of that, the storyline itself is so dark that that's how you fill her in, is with things like that. And then the action is so gory and intense and violent that that's also how you fill in. Where with superheroes, you use some comedy and you use the action, and then you give a little bit of taste of the drama. And I get, no, don't get me wrong, I agree, DC does call for, especially a lot of its characters, more dramatic roles and storytelling, and they've done that with other properties like Man of Steel, and it came out great. but with Watchmen, like all that works, and that's why, I mean, it might end up being the nerd session at the end. I think MSK might have something a little bit different that's not Zack Snyder related, but Watchmen's great. That is something we would strongly recommend, and everything that he's doing in this Justice League movie is things that he did in Watchmen, but it's such a different.
It doesn't need it. The Justice League doesn't need
it doesn't call for it.
In it.
It doesn't need it. It doesn't really call for it. I mean,
it doesn't call for it. Yeah.
But visually, and then, oh man, it's going to be hard to try and be nice. But we got to get to the Aquaman scene. What the hell with that Aquaman scene? Well, I've seen so long. It's like 20 times. I'm like, okay, cut away. Okay, cut away. Yeah. Okay, cut away. Like how?
Well, I sent you another cut of that scene where they could have easily just done that. And it still
could have been shortened a little bit more. It could have been shortened a little bit more too, on top of what you said.
But it cut away. We didn't need the girl singing for 4 hours. Like get what he was. No, actually, I don't get what he was trying to do. But like, we didn't need it. We didn't need it.
I feel, and I know. Like,
did you really see what he was trying to do? Because honestly, I'm still confused about that scene. Okay. I'm not even lying. Maybe somebody needs to translate the song. Look, I don't know. I just don't get it. I don't understand.
I think they idolize Aquaman as a type of Zack Snyder's whole thing.
Shirt, what he's going
into. I know, and it's extreme.
Trying to say that's what it is. They see him like a god. Like they overly idolize him.
They overly idolize him and
shirt.
Yeah, I know. They overly idolize him, right? And they see him as a god, which is Zack Snyder's whole thing is how these heroes live up to be they're not doing. He's not trying to do the whole, they're just humans trying to become hero or whatever.
MSK but they're trying to do and the audience can decide, and Yopi's can decide, and MSK told me it's just they hate talking. But I almost felt, because when you watch the beginning of that scene, as soon as the girl starts singing, Ben Affleck, so I'm saying the actor's name right now, Ben Affleck looks over and he has this what the fuck face, like straight up, like what is happening right now? It almost felt to me like it was a prank. Like originally, this was Zack Snyder was busting Ben Affleck's balls, but then he's a pro because he's a good director now, and he just like broke from that face and just looked back at the ocean and say, "I'm just going with this. Whatever this is, I'm going with it." And then when it was done, Zack Snyder looked at it and went, "You know what? Good job going with it. We're keeping it now. This is art." And then we got stuck with this freaking scene in this movie.
Well, like I was saying, he was trying to go for the whole godlike thing that everyone idolizes him. But that scene ran way too long. And it didn't really need to be like that. They didn't need to cut. They didn't need to cut it like that.
Fine, they idolize this man. Okay, fine. This only town where apparently the only there's hot chicks in there and a lot of grumpy looking men. And Aquaman comes out of the water and they idolize him. Okay, fine. Let's not even go by that. But let's be realistic about that scene. Apart from being pointless, the man is there all the time. Do you need to smell his shirt?
Exactly. That's why it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense because he's
the only place he's at.
He's a known person in that town, so that makes no sense.
Aquaman, I mean, it's in his name, Agua. Shouldn't Aquaman care about the waters and the sea life and stuff? Because in that scene, he's just throwing his shirt there. Luckily, the girl picked it up. If not, it would have washed off into the ocean. And then later in the movie, he's throwing a whole bottle of whiskey.
There's a whole thing online about that.
Into the ocean. He's like, I like how this Aquaman gives 3 nuggets about the ocean and the sea life.
It's crazy because I feel like his Aquaman would have been better if he would just be like how Jason Momoa is in real life. Like he's very nature. Right?
Yes.
This Aquaman just throws things everywhere.
He don't care. So. He just doesn't care. He's Lobo of the sea. That's what it indicated. This version of Aquaman.
That's what Jason Momoa. That's what Jason Momoa should have been. Honestly, he would have been the perfect Lobo. I think he would have been a perfect Lobo, and they kind of missed the opportunity for that. But whatever. I'm not gonna go back on casting issues because I have issues with that. But yeah, that scene is pointless. The execution was pretty pointless, and it's kind of sad that things like that from the movie, and I'm gonna do a percentage information right now. I'm gonna give you some
of SlowMos
from data for SlowMos, but it's sad that things like that take away from the good stuff of the movie because there are some good stuff in the movie that made it better than Joss's cut.
Well, we'll go number one. I was saying earlier,
Wait,
everything.
Wait. Before you continue, give me the percentage.
He's not gonna let us.
I need to know. I want to know this. I want to know
What is the slow-mo percentage?
Okay, so
what is the slow-mo percentage?
So I'm gonna bring this up. Again, this is one of the main nerd sites that conducted this study, but IGN concluded that there were 24 minutes and 7 seconds of slow motion action in the whole movie. So breaking it down,
that's 6 music videos.
It's basically 10% of the movie was slow motion.
That's 6 music videos. We watched
crazy.
6 music videos.
Yeah.
6 parts, 6 music videos. And did every part have a slow motion? I'm trying to think now. Did every part have a slow motion?
The two. I remember
the fight. Oh yeah, no, because there was multiple. There was more than 6 slow motions. There was every part definitely had a slow motion because the Themyscira had a slow motion. The Aquaman thing was a slow motion. Most of the Flash stuff, I think most of the slow motions are Flash.
That stuff that didn't bother me as much as the Aquaman. That makes sense. That one makes sense. Yeah.
You know what? They really drove it home. Don't have a main character, and don't get me wrong. I love the Flash and everything like that, and I understand that. Yes, Wonder Woman also has to an extent super speed. Superman also has a lot of super speed, but if you have one character that pretty much his only power, being brought to the league is his super speed, don't overemphasize so much the other people's super speed. Yeah. We had a full slow motion super speed scene from Wonder Woman, and then obviously that one worked though. At least the Superman fight to show that like, oh crap, the Flash and Superman are going at it, and doesn't work well for the Flash. It's just as fast. So they should have left out the Wonder Woman one. You know what I mean? To an extent, but like they really honed in on it. They slow-mo. She blocked a bunch of bullets.
Which Wonder Woman scene?
Let's go to Wonder Woman. Yeah. She blew up a man in front of kids. Part 3. Let's talk about
Part
this.
3, Wonder Woman. Part 3, Wonder
Woman. She blew up a guy that she could have easily just arrested. She blew him up with her little power through concrete. Well,
so got half the building.
The guy was trying to The guy was trying to blow up the building. She ended up blowing it up as well.
Yeah, she helped him out.
Let's just talk about this.
Traumatizing a bunch of kids.
Nitpicking. Listen, that's nitpicking in the actual world that he already created. I'm not going to go back on what he has already created because we already know this is a dark version of the Justice League, right? And we already know he already did it incorrectly. So I'm not going to nitpick on those things, just like Batman cursing. Like, listen, you knew he was going to mess this up anyways because that's how Zack Snyder already introduced the world after Man of Steel. So as soon as Batman v Superman came out and it was like that, it's just like, okay, well, this is what Zack Snyder's setting up for it. I'm not going to go back and
so let's pick on that stuff. Let's bring the positives. Did you or maybe positives for some people and not for other people? Did you like the change of tune for Wonder Woman?
Oh, that was terrible. Okay, so every time Wonder Woman wasn't seen, they didn't only do the Wonder Woman theme song. They did like the underscore of like the old style, like Celtic thing. And it was very annoying because it was the musical changes in general in this movie were pretty bad because the slow-mo, the ballads, the only Wonder Woman's theme, because she's really the only one that has one. Yeah. Batman doesn't have one. They did this weird digital thing with Cyborg, which is cool, but it didn't really do anything score wise.
No, I agree.
So it's the score wasn't that great either. I'm not gonna say it was amazing. It was still better than Joss's score, because if you remember that score, it was very Tim Burton Batman type music from Danny Elfman, but it didn't vastly improve the movie with what they did with every Wonder Woman scene.
I'm gonna say something. Okay, with the nitpicking, and here's my point, because embellish on the point that you just made, because I've been this guy. Because this episode right now, it's gonna be a love or hate episode. We're gonna have people that are gonna agree with us 100%, and they'll be like, yes, I'm tuning into this because these guys are saying what I'm saying to my friends, and then we're gonna have people hate listen to us. They're gonna listen to us so they can yell at their phone or their tablet or their computer, whatever they're listening to their podcast on. They're gonna hate listen to us, to disagree with us, and say no. And I'm gonna say this: I've been this guy because I'm this guy with the X-Men movies. However, I acknowledge I'm entertained by them. Some of them entertained enough to watch them more than once. But when it comes to nitpicking, there's not scenes that when you're saying, well, that didn't bother me, or Well, I was all right with it. You're already admitting defeat, that it's bad. That moment is bad. That thing is bad. I know because I've been this person and I know what I'm saying. It's like, well, I overall enjoyed it, so whatever. But nitpicking is you're nitpicking because it's bad. That's the problem.
Oh, you're saying the Snyder. Well, the Snyder fans are.
Yes,
that's a whole different. That's a whole different.
They're becoming Fast and Furious fans. They're doing the thing where it's like, and I hate it because we've been avoiding doing a Fast and Furious episode, and we're basically doing one right now because we're having to nitpick and hate on things because we're basically as nerds forced to watch this. Unlike Fast and Furious, we're not like the biggest car mongrels. You know what I mean? But it's like, come on, this is Batman. This is Superman.
I was having a conversation with someone online about this, where it's like the Snyder Cut isn't that bad once you watch it once, right? You watch it, it's like, okay, it's better than Justice Cut. Whatever, you leave it alone. But then you start talking to other people, about what you don't like about it, and if you're a diehard Zack Snyder fanatic, which a lot of these Snyder Cut people are. Yep. They make you want to hate this movie.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I kind of had to like tune that out for me to and still enjoy the movie that I watched and enjoy the good things about it. Because if I were to listen to those people and be like, oh, look, the way he portrayed Batman is perfect and the way he portrayed the Flash is perfect, I would have been like, nah, stop.
See, to me, that's, you know what I mean? To me, that's more like nitpicking, like nitpicking more like, well, you know, he said this and his dialogue. Like I was joking about the curse. I don't care that Batman curse. Honestly, that didn't bother me. That wasn't something I didn't enjoy. The things I'm bringing up are things that those are moments I actually didn't enjoy. And it's like other people say, oh, and that's what I'm bringing up the example with X-Men movies. There's certain ones I can't watch again. And I'm like, well, I enjoyed it that one time, but I won't watch it again, which is already me acknowledging that, yes, I enjoyed it, but it's not a very good film because I don't want to watch it again. And the reason is because there's things that I'm just sucking it up and getting over it because I just want to overall enjoy the package, but I'm done with it now because I know I'm going to nitpick it myself if I rewatch it. This movie, like, look, I'm watching it now and it turns out it's way better because I have it here to the side, muted on my wife's iPad because, again, visually it's awesome, and because I'm not getting a lot of the things and I'm distracted by talking to you guys, there's like visual moments in this that are incredible. Like right now,
yeah, there are really good moments about it, but then when you tell any obsessed Zack Snyder's fan about it, right? Like if I said, "Oh, everything the Flash scene, the Aquaman scene was pointless," they attack you like it's like, "No, you're stupid. That scene makes this," and it's kind of like, dude, I'm just telling you, I didn't like that scene. I'm not saying you're right. I'm not saying I'm right. This is all like subjective, right?
Here's the problem. Here's my problem I'm having is also the comparison that people are going with this movie against anything MCU, and I'm not trying to.
They gotta stop doing that, though.
I am not trying to do this, but like you cannot compare these two movies, whether the CGI looks good, whether it looks bad, whether one like you cannot do that, and I'm tired of the comparisons. There are so many memes out there about the Snyder Cut being so much better than MCU that it's just I am boiling inside, and I want to scream at these fans.
Look,
well, that's the thing where I don't do that. I don't compare DC with Marvel anymore because we know where that's gonna go, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna compare Zack Snyder to Joss's cut, right? That's all I'm doing. Of course, you can't. But look, Yopis, remember that one guy that was just like, "Oh, Darkseid, watch, he's way better than." I didn't even bring Thanos or MCU up at all, right? So he was just like, "Oh, Darkseid is gonna be way better than Thanos. Watch, he could whoop Thanos." Well, I'm like, all right, cool. Darkseid, and at this point, I'm like, Darkseid's only gonna make a cameo on this, man. He's not even gonna like be in it that long, and you know, Thanos has been built up.
It seem like the 3 lines that he might have had in this movie was gonna be, overwrite everything MCU had. You know what I mean? Like, you can't.
It wasn't gonna happen. It wasn't gonna because. Yeah, that I mean, look, maybe if you would have compared the characters from the comics, fine, I would argue that Darkseid versus Thanos in the comics, because they're both fleshed out in the comics. But Thanos is fully fleshed out in MCU.
How they're presented. Let me tell you now. Now I'm gonna nitpick that comment from that guy about that, because if we're gonna nitpick the build up for Thanos, and I understand it's a spread of multiple movies or whatnot, but let's be fair. Okay, his first introduction in this film is a history lesson where, you know, talking about Thanos of go for the head. Yopis is the one who brought this up, the Thor scene. His first introduction is catching a beating. Let's start with that. So Darkseid already in the plus column, in the negative column versus Thanos, who Thanos was a badass. And if you're gonna compare, you're gonna take, I guess, like Infinity War Endgame. First thing he did was completely devastate the Hulk. Where, Darkseid catch a beat. Okay, he killed a Green Lantern and a pretty jokey Green Lantern to boot. But he took a beating. Then after that, he has a conversation with Steppenwolf at one point, and then after that, you just have the stare down contest with the decapitated head at the end. So it's like there wasn't a whole lot of Darkseid here to be like,
it
looked cool, though.
No, but it looked cool. Darkseid looked good. Those scenes were I like those scenes, but it's not
compared to Thanos.
It's not comparison. It's nothing compared to Thanos. Those are the comments that make people not like this movie.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And then it's the same people that will nitpick Endgame, because I get it and I agree. Endgame is not as good as Infinity War.
It's not, and I've said that before.
Endgame, but then completely defend and not nitpick this. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
It's obvious.
It's kind of extreme on both sides. I mean, but in this case, so as soon as I finished the movie, I went online and I saw kind of extreme comments coming from both sides. Zack Snyder people and people that don't like Zack Snyder, they were both kind of extreme. And then that narrowed down as the week went through. It was just like, all right, Zack Snyder people, like, calm down. All right. Now you're getting mad at people for just saying, hey, man, it was a good movie. It was a good movie. But, I think I'm ready for the next Justice League or the next phase of DC stuff, and people go crazy about it.
I'm ready for the next phase, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, people would say something simple like that, and they would be attacked like by these Zack Snyder people, and it's just like, guys, like. I didn't think I'd get like another toxic fan base quite at the level as the Star Wars fan base.
I know, it's crazy.
Is at this moment, and I think the Zack Snyder people are getting up there, and nothing to take away from people that like this movie, because I know people that like this movie and they're cool and we talk about it, and they're not insane, right? I can have a conversation with them. But then there's other people online where it's just like, oh, you're like that guy that he was trying to say, oh, the CGI from WandaVision. Remember that comment?
Wow. That man,
you're gonna compare WandaVision to
he literally said was saying that the CGI on the Justice League was already 1,000 times better than the WandaVision red colors. What was he saying? Like little red lights is what he was saying.
Yeah, little red lights. And I kind of had to put that guy in his place, because it's like, dude, a lot lot of people worked on those little red lights that you're talking about. But
and nothing to take away. That particular guy is a fake. Is a fake profile that's either for Marvel or for DC, just to have the Marvel versus DC thing going, like that.
Maybe,
that the comic books had, because it helps.
Well, this was a different guy.
Sales, you know what I mean?
This was a different guy, but probably, I don't know. But I was just like, dude, a lot of people worked on the visual effects and special effects on WandaVision, and they were good, and they were awesome. And not to take away from the DC people, right? Because I know a lot of people worked on that too, but they're getting a second chance. Right? They didn't get it right the first time, and they're getting a second chance. And it's cool they're getting a second chance, and it's better. I'm not saying it's worse, but it's like he has no right to kind of like say WandaVision CGI people suck.
Which he actually started backtracking on the actual comments.
He backtracked hard. When I called him out. I'm just like, I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
I don't mean
yeah. And it's that thing where it's like, why you could like both of them, like. You get what I'm saying? It's not like a DC versus MCU thing, which I'm not comparing. I'm not going to compare them because MCU.
No, I agree with you. You shouldn't.
Is another level. But
here we go. I'm going to go part four, two extra points on this because it's so relevant to what you're saying. Okay, what you were bringing up earlier about like the how much 20 minutes or whatever 10% of the film is SlowMos. Right now, 10%. I'm seeing the scene, and this was going to start breaking from the Josh version to the Snyder version, which is the scene where they bring back Superman and they're all fighting him. How much of this movie, I mean, they try to make it sound like the overall plot is the same, with the exception that he's not calling Mother Box Mother, and Darkseid's not a thing. Darkseid's a part of it, but it's still Steppenwolf collecting Mother Boxes. And then outside of that, other than obviously we don't get a CGI at a mustache, which that is the biggest accomplishment. But again, because it was the original shot scenes, a lot of it, so they didn't have to CGI a mustache. They didn't have them when they filmed. But that being said, a lot of it was still in the Josh Whedon version. Like the first half of this movie, especially, you're like, okay, so there's a lot of fat that got cut out, which should have gotten cut out. Like we were talking about the Aquaman scene and things like that. But overall, the first half, I was sitting there waiting, like, hey, so far, I'm seeing a lot of the other movie. Granted, it looks better. The audio sound, not the score, but it sounds better. The coloring. Then I go, but I'm kind of still just seeing a remastered version of the other movie so far.
Well, the problem with the Joss version is that, all right, Zack Snyder recorded all of this stuff that you're seeing right now. Minus the visual effects, the special effects, which is all the money they put into it, and the two scenes at the end, the one with the Joker, the nightmare scene,
we'll get there.
I'm gonna get there. The nightmare scene and the Martian Manhunter scene at the end. Those are the only two newly shot scenes, right? So everything else was already shot. What they did with Joss was they brought him in after they let go of Zack Snyder, and they gave money to Joss to reshoot his scenes. So half of the Joss cut is Joss Whedon's reshot scenes, and half was Snyder's stuff. Maybe about an hour of the 4 hours that Snyder already shot. You get what I'm saying? So.
But that's my point. So my point is that again, granted, it's looking better, and he, like an idiot, he reshot scenes that he should have kept what Snyder used, but whatever. That's between directors and their own like personal preferences and things. But like example, and you see that's one of the scenes that's way better because Ben Affleck had put on some weight for this scene, the scene that I'm talking about right now, where they're fighting Superman, and that's when he grabs him by the jaw and picks him up, and he's like, "Do you bleed?" Obviously, a much better situation that he had the two gauntlets. What would have been cool though,
makes sense. Yeah,
is if like I would have thrown this in there, just something that would have made it a little bit cooler, that scene to end it. She happened to be there, like, oh, what a coincidence! They end up fighting the spot that Lois Lane goes to every day with a cup of coffee with no worries. Also with the Martian Manhunter thing, very nice that we had this nice deep conversation between Mother and basically Widow, and it wasn't his mother, it was Martian Manhunter manipulating the situation. Like, okay.
That was the Martian Manhunter thing was completely thrown in there for I don't know why he thrown it. It's a waste. It wastes the relationship.
Yeah, that was
Lois Lane.
I think it would have been cooler that before, like after Lois got there and everything, you would have seen Batman like putting away a piece of kryptonite back in his back pocket because he's still freaking Batman, and that's how he rolls. You know what I mean? Like if he's gonna resurrect Superman, knowing that it could go wrong, you figured he'd have something.
Knowing who Batman really is.
That's the only scene that makes sense to me in the Joss cut where the Martha Kent and Lois Lane relationship felt better in the Joss cut, and the fact that Batman used Lois Lane as a weapon towards
you're expecting
Superman.
kryptonite,
because Batman would do that.
But I figured since Zack Snyder was a darker person, what it would have been that he would have had a little chunk of kryptonite that he would have hit.
So
it,
as soon as he sees him, as soon as he picks him up, or whatever happens in the scene that you want to throw, he will start feeling that weakness because the kryptonite is there near him.
Yeah, well, no, not even because he would keep it encased in lead.
No,
he would
just like that.
I would just say he would show it because, well, it could be. Yeah, either way, that would have been better. You know what I mean? I would have done that. But the point is, you already have, so much, you have all these slow-mos. You have a lot of it actually was, so you're making the complete comparison, like, it wasn't Joss.
But look, I'm gonna be honest with you. I enjoy the fillers. I enjoy some of the fill-ins, questions that I had, and I'm gonna throw some positives. So here you go again. I'm being positive. Look,
there we go. Yo,
look
P
at me,
throwing
everybody.
positives.
Look at me,
there
guys.
There we go. Yo, P throwing positives.
Hear me out. I enjoy the fill-ins because honestly, I get that Bruce Wayne used her as the kryptonite in the Joss Whedon version of it, but I actually enjoy her taking the coffee break and being at the site pretty much every day. That's how she was going there, and it just happens to be one of those days that she was going. You know what? I didn't mind that. I actually enjoy that. I'm not gonna lie to you. Minus Martian Green Hunter. That's the only thing that I did not enjoy, and I'm talking about the whole thing with his situation completely.
Yeah,
I did not need him in this, and I did not need any feelings with him showing up for anything in this movie.
Yeah,
it kind of takes away from his character because he was in this whole thing, the whole universe, this whole time since Man of Steel, and he didn't do anything, you know.
Exactly.
And Martian Manhunter,
he shows up at the end to go talk. Well, in the epilogue, to go talk to Bruce Wayne. It's like, well, that's great. Yeah, why didn't you help out? Like,
I wish they would have done
you go talk to Lois Lane and you didn't come jump in on this fight. Like, seriously?
Yeah.
What's that about?
I wish they would have done the scene from New Frontier. I don't know if you guys seen the animation New Frontier, where he meets Martian Manhunter and he's like, "Look, just be aware that I have a very expensive meteorite that could take down Superman like in an instant. All I got to do is take out a box of matches."
Yeah, right? Yeah, I remember that.
And that's a scene. That's a scene with Batman and Martian Manhunter that would have been amazing in a movie, you know?
Let me tell you where I was disappointed. Because when I saw the rumors of the Martian Manhunter, something that would have made sense to me and it would have fit the film better, and I don't know, maybe he was going to do that and just change his mind or who knows what happened, but it was only making sense to me because the Flash time traveling is one thing. Batman, Bruce Wayne's dreams, he doesn't have superpowers. I really thought because remember, they introduced that in Batman v Superman. I was like, oh, I think they're dropping hints of a Martian Manhunter because he's communicating with Bruce Wayne telepathically through his dreams. So I thought they were going to lead into that to give Martian Manhunter meaning, and especially with the epilogue and everything that they add at the end with the nightmare scene and all that, it would have made more sense. No, he wakes up from that, and Martian Manhunter he didn't even sense that.
Yeah, the Martian Manhunter thing, it was shoehorned in there. It was shoehorned in there just to show that, hey, man, look, I could have done Martian Manhunter, but you're not doing Martian Manhunter, so why even put him in? You get what I'm saying? Like, it didn't really need to be there.
Pointless.
Yeah, I agree. That was very pointless.
And something else I'm going to nitpick at. Because
he looked okay. I didn't mind the way he... I mean, afterwards, I saw the pictures of Martian Manhunter from the Supergirl.
Yeah.
I guess he's in that show, too. And... he didn't comparing the pictures, man. I don't know. The Supergirl version didn't look
bad.
Way like worse. Like
no,
it looked
bad,
kind
actually.
of decent. So in comparison, like I kind of feel Martian Manhunter, he looked okay in this, but I feel like they could have done more with the way he looked also. So
of course,
I don't know. It was kind of. I felt obviously with everything in this universe, it's rushed. It was rushed, and he would have been a good Martian Manhunter. I think that actor would have been good as Martian Manhunter.
He would have. Actually, I was really hoping that was the route they're going to go because I want a younger Jon Stewart. If they were going to go that route, he's a bit on the older side. I don't want a young Jon Stewart either in his 20s, but I don't want like a 50s. You know what I mean?
No,
I would like a early 40s, so there's plenty of room to grow the character.
Yep.
But yeah, and not the nitpick, and I was going to say earlier is like there's also dialogue things that were, and some of them are like, okay, that's Josh Whedon being Josh Whedon, but no, some of those things made it to this cut, like the whole thing with, except, Bruce Wayne didn't reply, but like with the Aquaman scene with the strongest man is strongest alone, or like the scene with the Cyborg and Batman, he's like, I didn't think you were real. It's like, I'm real when I need to be. He's like, who wrote these freaking lines and why are you keeping them?
Yeah,
I mean, obviously you
I gotta tell you though, the lines
part of Snyder's because not they would have still been in there.
I don't know. I don't know when the last time you guys saw the Joss cut, but I saw it 2 days before watching this, and it was it was Joss trying its hardest to make it an Avengers movie, and you can't. You can't do it. You can't do it.
You can't. Two completely different formulas. That's why they shouldn't be compared.
Yeah,
and I mean they are comparable.
Well, no, they're comparable because it's in the same. It's in the same universe. Like they're comparable because it is what it is. It's what
now
they did.
We'll get into the Flash
because it's the comics that we grew up in. That's the only comparison they have.
But the thing is, they hired Joss. They basically hired Joss because he did great in the Avengers. Let's not go crazy. The Avengers movie was a good movie, right? That
formula worked there though.
Because they built up to that.
Exactly.
But to have them do Zack Snyder.
You can't do that, man. You can't do that.
I agree.
You can't just hire that guy and expect him to do the same thing.
Exactly. You can't. So when you watch that movie, watch it. And there's a lot of jokes. There's like, that joke works more in MCU, not this. Like, why did they do this?
Which is why I couldn't stand the Flash. I still can't stand the Flash. I'm gonna be honest with you.
That's the point I was gonna make now. Hold on, I want to bring up that point because I know MSK is gonna really dig into it, and that's the whole thing that I was expecting. Maybe a little bit of difference in that from Josh Whedon to Zack Snyder, because again, like you said, Josh Whedon was trying to make it the Avengers. I was expecting Zack Snyder not to be, but here we are. It's still the same Barry Allen. He's still doing this, Peter Parker Parker, and Marvel MCU Peter Parker version of the witty young guy unsure of himself, make little comedic quips. Snyder did it too. Snyder did it first.
He did do it too, but they cut it, dude. I need you guys to watch that Joss cut because they cut down.
I know they cut it down.
The Flash is still bad.
He overly did it. Yeah, he empowered it and strengthened it and shot it up and shot it up with steroids to make it even more so. But you watch this and it's still an unappealing version of Barry Allen.
Yeah, because that's from the get-go. His casting was terrible. Like, he's not a good Flash. And Ezra Miller is not, the way he's playing him. I'm not saying that he's a bad actor, but I'm saying the way he's playing that character, that's not Barry Allen at all.
But it's what Snyder wanted. So he also wanted that Peter Parker.
Of course, and that's wrong. That's completely wrong. That I don't dig that version of him at all. But they did tone it down on this because that Joss cut, dude. There was a scene where he was talking about like brunch, and they brought it up at the end again about the brunch thing.
They used it for the super. And would you know what? I actually like that they did that. I just didn't like the brunch dialogue, but I did like the showing the Superman, because that was an awesome comic book, and they also did in the animated series also the Superman Flash race. And I was
it wasn't a race. Cool. Okay, no, shut up, because it wasn't a race. He flew. He flew in that scene.
That's not what he does in the comic books either, or the animation. That's actually, it wasn't supposed to be a flying running
in
race.
The comic books, in the comic books he runs.
They both run, and in the animated series too, they both run. He only starts flying because something happens, and they stop the middle of the race to go fight a villain.
But I hated that in the Joss cut. But what I'm saying is, bad Flash. There was no fixing that, right? The Flash
here's the sad thing too. If we had a better casted Flash, and if we had a better build-up for the character, let's say like his own movie first, the way he contributed to the final fight scene was obviously way better than the garbage that Josh Whedon saved this one family that shouldn't even be living right next to a nuclear power plant that destroyed an entire
and then the flowers
city
grow, and it was cheesy, man. That was really bad.
Yeah, and this, if I would have cared more about the character through better development, it was a good scene. He had to throw it on the line, but it's like he's already reversing time. Like, this is not, we just introduced the Flash level of abilities. Like, that's already all the way up there. The next thing he's phasing through things already. Like, it's too much. You know what I mean? But it was at least a cool contribution for the character. It would have been his Peter Parker, pulling the train from, ripping his costume apart to keep the train from going off the rails and all,
if we cared about him.
That would have been his moment if we cared about him.
Yeah,
exactly.
I agree with you. Yeah.
And that, in fairness, no matter what, and again, the biggest problem with DC movies overall, and the reason it's like 1 out of 5 of them are great movies, and the rest are or really bad, is Warner Brothers itself. It's just sad, but it's true. I do like what they did with the multi-cinematic universe, whatever. That's cute, but overall, is like they need to get out of the way and stop rushing things. And no matter what, Snyder did face the same problem that Josh Whedon faced trying to complete it, and that this whole franchise is faced of them trying to rush the MCU to compete. And it's like, why? There's no need.
But you know what? I think they're trying to course correct that in a way, because they're not going to do Flash. They're not going to do not only that, they're just not going to do the Snyderverse anymore, right? They're going to stop it. They're going to do canon. Shazam.
It's too late. Yeah, they already did Shazam. They already did Wonder Woman 1984. They already did Aquaman. They don't really fit in this anymore.
Right. They did all those movies already. But I'm saying in the future, they're going to do Black Adam. They're going to do they're going to start doing other projects that are going to kind of slowly step away from the Snyderverse.
Let's throw the shit in the fan and see what sticks. Yes, I get it. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Now, part 4.
Cyborg?
We're gonna get into moving forward. Yeah, we got to talk about Cyborg, because actually that was a lot of good stuff came with Cyborg. I mean, some bad things too, but a lot of good stuff.
I'm gonna bring some positive into this. Here I go. Look at me.
Positive.
Listen.
What I wanted to just to finish off with the Flash, because there's not gonna be a lot to talk about him anymore. Anyways, I do like just a point that I brought up that I wanted to bring up on the podcast. That I don't know if I like. I'm just saying, like, haha, look what they're doing. That they kept calling it, and they were gonna name it Flashpoint Paradox, and now they've honed in and apparently 100% settled in on the Flash and removed Flashpoint from it. And I kind of feel they're putting a possible another reboot for the whole universe if needed, or if they feel fit. And and keeping Flashpoint Paradox in their back pocket to maybe like, well, if this doesn't work out, we can do it again and recast some people and, you know, multiverse it and whatever, and then I think at that point it's going to become like just a hot mess of like, you guys are being seen for just trying to reboot
I don't want them
and refresh and I hope they don't do it.
I don't want them to do Flashpoint and I think the Flash series try to do their own version of Flashpoint because that's like
they did it,
the thing to do, right? Yeah. Let's do Flashpoint because that's all we could do about the Flash. And it's
only the animated movie was great about that.
The thing is, no, in the comic books.
I mean, the comic, too. But I mean, like as far as bringing it from obviously the comic book is what wrote it. But I'm saying as far as bringing it to the screen, the animated film just did it perfectly. And
but the thing is, the comic book, look, the Flashpoint Paradox in the comic book did a lot to reboot everyone's every even like
timeline,
the like Hawkman's thing, like everyone's thing changed because they did the whole new 52 run and it changed everything, right? They could use that to reboot this, but at this point I don't want them to ruin that story. So I just want them just to reboot. Like, give me the movies they're going to do now, right? And reboot the whole thing in about 10 years with the proper way if you're going to do a shared universe, right?
Man of Steel was such a great start point. It's so sad.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
And you know what? I'm still going to appreciate that movie because it's still one solo Superman movie that you can watch and it's like, damn, that movie's great.
Hands down.
But at this point, it's like, look, just give me these one-shot movies that don't really need to be part of a big universe. And I'll enjoy it if they're just by themselves.
Standalone.
But if you're going to do a shared universe, they got to do it from the beginning. They got to redo everything. They got to redo everything.
So
Cyborg. Let's part 5 Cyborg.
All right. So here's the positive. Here's a positive take on it. I enjoy how much the story evolved. Hello?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. I'm sorry. Something cut off. I enjoy how much they pretty much revolved a lot more seriousness into the storyline with Cyborg. They made him more, the story with him and his dad, it kind of like was a little bit better told than the first time. I think the first time he was just like an emo guy walking around the whole city. This time they gave him more of a character development. I enjoy that it was more about Cyborg, especially with the whole mother boxes and all these things. So I actually liked that aspect of it. Now, the negative that I have to say about it is he still looks like crap to me. And I'm not sure what it is about it, but in certain scenes, it's almost like his face is not even on the actual
because it's too much. It's too much. The whole body.
The CGI
all they left him with was his
much.
face. Yeah.
It's almost like it's not. It wasn't well done, and it bothers me sometimes in some shots. But other than that, that's my take on it. I actually enjoy Cyborg.
I'm actually looking. I'm looking at a scene right now with him, which is the one where they're getting on that giant aircraft that he's able to make fly by talking to it or whatnot. Which he talks to all this technology and he doesn't knock down like. Whatever. Again, plot hole stuff that they should have used more of Cyborg's abilities in like the actual fights, in the way that they were using it outside of fights, because that's what he does. You know what I mean? He hacks into technology, and you shoot a rocket at him, he's gonna hack it and move it to the other way, and things like that. And they kind of he stepped away from doing that. Again, if you're not gonna do that with Cyborg, it's like because he has to grow up to that point. It's like, well, then the Flash definitely needs to grow up to his point.
Yeah.
That he was moving.
It was
but outside of that,
but they did a better job with Cyborg than they did with the Flash.
That was one of the story improvements, which, in my opinion, not many of them. There weren't many story improvements, but that was one of them because with the mother boxes, you needed more Cyborg. He's the one that's directly connected to these things. He's the one that speaks their language and is actually made from it in this universe. Yeah, exactly. So that part had to be done.
And his storyline actually made better sense of the plot in general.
Yeah,
right?
Of course.
So. Yeah. And just in comparison to the Joss cut, but I agree with what Yopies is saying. He does not look that great. It's just like it's very jarring. And I made this comparison before. In Doom Patrol, the guy is wearing he's just wearing.
So cheap.
He's wearing
a piece.
Yeah, right. Like he's just wearing a shirt that looks like a Cyborg shirt, right?
Yeah.
But yet his portrayal is very good. That you really kind of good. It's kind of like, all right, I'll ignore it because it's a series, right? In this, his portrayal is good, but it's not
Cyborg.
It's not as good for me to ignore what they're doing with the special effects.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, I like what they did. They gave him way more backstory. He makes way more sense. And there was a whole controversy with Joss and that actor. But it makes sense in this version. But at the same time, it's like, you still don't look that great.
Yeah.
You know?
No,
So it's kind of
still
one of those things.
Yeah, it's still not the best version of him. And to boot, it's the same thing as they did much better with him in this film, and kind of, you know, centered more around him, which again needed to be because he's directly connected to the main items that the villain is after or whatnot. Still a character that would have benefited more from his own film first. It's hard to put all these characters together. It is. Batman had half a movie, a Wonder Woman, and now again that's a Joss's, you know, view. But here we actually benefit from. Well, we actually had an Aquaman movie. I'm a little bit more vested in this character than I was before. Depending,
was an
actually like that
Aquaman
movie. With Wonder Woman, you're more invested because you already saw, Wonder
Two
Woman.
movies, yeah.
Again, not so great about 1984, but you did see a Wonder Woman. But you still haven't had a Cyborg movie. You still hadn't had a Flash movie. You obviously they barely use Superman. He's in the last, 20% of the film, barely, and
which is where the movie starts picking up.
Yeah, exactly, and that's where it gets better because that's the strongest character they had that has the most, viewer emotional attachment to, because you've had the Man of Steel movie and half of Batman v Superman that he's the half of that movie he's the co-main character, so you have a lot more invested emotionally and mentally into the character of Superman getting to this point. And that's another thing right at the gate, and he did it with Batman v Superman. It's like you're throwing so many Superman stories so quick mashed up together, like he did in Batman v Superman with he did Death of Superman, on top of that he did Doomsday, on top of that he did Dark Knight with Return of the Dark Knight with Batman v Superman. Yeah, it was just too many, and then he's doing year two. It's Return of Superman as well as the introduction of Darkseid. It's like, man, and again, I blame the studio for that because I know if they would have given him, 8-picture, deal to Kevin Feige, this thing, they might have balanced it out better. And they, rushed him,
a lot of it, I'm sure it is the studio just saying, hey guys, we need to catch up to Marvel. Let's do it. Zack Snyder, I don't care if you have like a 4-picture idea. I want you to catch up to Marvel. Bam. So I'm gonna blame that on Warner Brothers. But let me go back to Cyborg real quick. That actor, he's not a bad Cyborg. I mean, he's pretty good at it. But I don't believe that guy is like 18, 20, 21.
No,
at all.
27,
so I looked it up.
No.
I looked it up. 27 maybe. Yeah, I looked it up. The guy's 35 years old. All right.
Of course he is.
So I'm like, I look at that guy. I'm like, nah, man, that guy's not a teenager or a young 20-something.
Like he's supposed to be like 19, 20, like this. Senior in high school.
This happened to him. Or college football. You know what?
College. Let's say college.
Let's say college.
I take it he's been like this for about a year now or whatever. So he's like 19, turning 20. Yeah, I'm looking right now. That guy is not at all. I do not buy him. As a kid.
I mean, he did a good job. I'm not taking away from him. He did a decent job, and I wish he would have had a movie.
He looks good for 35.
Yeah, exactly. If he would have had a movie, I would have cared more.
And he reeks of it. He reeks of his maturity. You know what I mean? Yeah. And the thing is, the character is Cyborg, at least in the first introduction, he shouldn't be this mature. You know what I mean? Like, he should be
like Doom Patrol Cyborg, right?
Exactly.
Like you see a lot of leadership qualities in him, but at the end of the day, he's like
he's a kid.
He's a kid. He's a teenager. So
he does things that you're like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
So there was this line. Exactly. So there was this line where Aquaman, and they fixed it from the Joss quit, but he was just like, man, we're throwing him in there, and he's just a kid. He just lost his 2 parents, and he was I'm like, he's just a kid. That guy's a big dude for just a kid. I don't know.
I think you guys are about the same age. Okay, because we're getting in there, and we got to get into other things, especially because I know some stuff MSK is gonna definitely drop some bombs about, and I don't know.
Let's get good stuff out of the way. Look, the black suit of Superman looked good.
Oh yes,
let's get it out of the way.
It would look better. It would look better with a beard and long hair. I'll tell you that right now.
It would look better with a beard and long hair. Yes,
it looks great. It looks great to have.
You know who said no to that? You know who said no to that? Warner Brothers told him no to that. To the beard and long hair.
Of course they did.
Of course.
They've never picked up a comic book in their life. I get that. I understand that 100%.
No, because they don't want to try to sell that action figure, the long-haired.
It's hard. I guess it's hard.
Superman.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what the concept was of that, but yeah, it looked the black suit definitely looked better.
I liked it.
Steppenwolf definitely looks better. I mean, hands down.
Steppenwolf, yeah.
Look, let's talk about Steppenwolf. Yes,
Well, no, I'm not saying he looks perfect. I'm just saying he looks better than
Let's
the
just say
other
he
movie.
looks better, right? Let's just say he looks better. But that porcupine thing that he's got going on at every single section was bothering me. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not even gonna front it. I'm telling you right now, that thing bothered me a lot. That suit bothered me a lot. A lot.
Yeah.
That
His
thing,
design in general is not very cool
porcupine thing
looking.
that he kept doing like every single minute. It was like, who's controlling that? Is that his body? What's going on there? Who's controlling that?
It
Is
just
that
has a
the
mind of its
suit?
own.
Is that his body? What
I
is
think it is a suit. It's like nanotechnology because at one point it does come off and you see that it's just covering him. So he's kind of like an Iron Man almost, where it's like nanotechnology
It's
metal
the weirdest
suit
thing.
on him.
It was bothering me. I'm
Yeah,
not
I
even gonna
agree.
lie. It
I
looks
agree.
better,
But
but
it
it's
looked-
it's still bad.
Yeah. Yeah, we're talking about the face, like the man under the monster under the suit.
Yeah, right,
obviously
right.
looks
Okay.
better than the one we had in the previous.
the other
movie.
guy looked happy.
But that's the whole problem. The good is usually going to be this is better than that. Almost no movies have that availability to them.
Yeah, I mean, and
To be
this is like
considered a
kind
good
of like
movie, it's like, well, it's better 'cause
once in a
that's
lifetime
crap.
type thing, where
Exactly.
you can compare it. I mean, that's a lot of movies have director's cut, but not to this
Has
extent.
this
Not to
happened
this
now
extent.
it's two completely
my
different
question
films,
is, has this happened before where, like, I can't recall when a movie is made and the next movie, like the next cut, which is the director's cut, is so much different than that first movie. It's a lot different, like a lot.
I was gonna say to the day we get the Eric Stoltz version of Back to the Future.
Yeah, I don't want to see that. But the only one I could think of, Yopis, is the Richard Donner version of Superman 2 that came out. I think like in 2004, 2005, right before Superman Returns came out.
Yeah.
They re-released that movie, the Richard Donner cut with scenes that he cut that they didn't use from the 70s or whatever. That's the only one I could think of that is as close as this, and it's not as big.
But then that compares it what I said earlier about that's what studios just need to learn. Just let the directors do out their thing, because even Days of Future Past with X-Men, the Rogue cut, which is the same thing. It's a bunch of scenes that were cool action sequences. Specifically, they break Rogue out of prison, and there's a whole fight thing with Magneto, and it's pretty awesome that they completely cut out. That's another one that does it. Like you attest, I personally didn't feel that great about it, but a lot of people do agree with MSK that Batman v Superman, the director's cut, the extended one, is better than the theatrical one. It is. I just don't feel it didn't make me love the movie.
No.
It was better, but it just didn't get me to love it. But it is better, and like I can't think of any movie where I've seen the director's cut versus the original and be like, yeah, no, the theatrical one was better. Like, no, it's always nine. I personally can't think of one.
Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings. The director's cut is way better.
Here's not about getting better. Here's like, it's a complete different, almost movie.
It is.
It's a whole movie. It's a different movie.
And everything. That's the whole thing.
And
it actually changed. Yeah.
Yep.
They got a second shot at it. That's crazy.
Yeah,
it's
which is
insane.
great. Listen, that's pretty cool
overpraised.
that they did that. But at the same time, that fan base is kind of, I don't want to say spoiled, but it's kind of to the point where it's like,
drunk with power.
Well, you know what?
And now they're drunk with power, and they think that they're gonna get this whole universe, and they're gonna get all these movies.
Okay, fine. So you know what? I need my Die Hard 5 to get my director's cut. Complete different movie of Die Hard 5. Please fix that. Fix that ASAP. Die Hard 5. Please.
I don't think there's a director's cut of that movie. That movie's bad,
man. There has to be
man.
a director's cut of that movie. There has to be. I can't wait.
Nah.
I'm hashtagging Die Hard 5 cut. That's what I'm hashtagging. Watch.
Well, now speaking of completely different movie and completely different. Now we can get into the really, really different. It's epilogue time. Let's talk about the whole nightmare sequence and scene.
Are we here already?
And yeah, we got to get there. We got to get there, and because I know it's a lot that I know MSK specifically.
So here's the positive. Here I am again. A little bit of positive. Here I go.
Yeah.
Here's some positive on that cut scene. You ready?
If the audience can only see the video right now of MSK shooting me the bird for bringing that scene up, I think he was trying to get through this episode without talking about that part. So he could be one of the positive ones because now he's about to go off.
Yep, that was a positive.
But go ahead.
That was
Go ahead.
was a
Let's let
positive
your
right
piece
there.
go with a positive first. I'll try to end this with a positive.
No,
but I have
that
some
was actually the
negative things to
positive.
say too.
The me not saying anything was actually my positive part about it.
That was your positive. All right, so I'm gonna say a positive of this scene. Ready?
Okay. There, MSK.
Okay, hold on. Wait, I'm thinking. Hold on. Okay, so the epilogue, it started with the Jesse Eisenberg thing, right? Like at the end of the
Yes,
the Joss cut.
with
Okay,
Deathstroke.
I'm gonna
Yes,
remind you.
that's-
I'm gonna
that's where
remind you.
mad. That's where I'm
Listen.
mad already. That's where I'm annoyed already.
Listen, I'm gonna remind you what happened when we saw this movie because I saw it with Omega in the theater. So we saw it. We were like, all right, Justice League,
Just
it is
had
what it
to.
is, whatever.
Like,
we saw Deathstroke, and we're like, oh man, Deathstroke
Nice,
looks cool.
exactly.
All right,
Yeah.
they showed that scene where Lex Luthor escaped. And it's another guy. It's like, all right, cool. We're not gonna see Jesse.
They
Cool.
left Joker.
It's done.
They left the old man Joker inside the jail cell.
Yeah, no, I remember Omega saying, "Oh, did they just recast Lex Luthor?" And it's this guy. Oh, great, awesome.
Yes, good.
So we're like, all right, whatever. They're not gonna show Jesse. Cool. We saw Deathstroke. Deathstroke looks badass. His suit looks good.
Yeah.
It looks good.
Good casting, everything.
Yeah,
Everything
and then
about that looks good.
they showed Jesse again. They showed Jesse when we first saw the Joss cut. Now, at that point, me and Omega were like, I hate this movie. Screw this movie. I hate you.
Yes,
right?
I loudly and openly protested to that scene in the theater.
Now, I forgot about this scene, right? So when I'm watching this movie, the epilogue comes up. Jesse comes back in my face again.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, oh, I forgot about the scene. I hate this guy. I can't stand. I need this scene to end. So then the nightmare thing comes, and then they just do this whole Jared Leto, and at this point, I'm like, who do I hate more? Who? What casting do I hate more? Right? Do I hate Jesse as Lex or Jared Leto as the Joker? Right? So. And at this point, I'm completely out of the scene already. I'm like, listen, I don't care what's going on in the scene. In my head, I'm like, man, who do I hate more? Who do I hate more? Do I hate Jesse or Leto? And you know, lately, how I've been feeling about Leto, right? Like he's a good actor. He's a good actor, but it's like, dude, I'm tired of the weird. Like, it's too much. It's too much.
I'm gonna share my take,
So-
and then we'll see where your piece falls on that take, and then you can get more negative because I'm gonna say probably something that's gonna trigger you a little bit by defending it, just a tad, just a tad.
Yeah.
Overall, in that scene, and I'll go straight to the Joker specifics of it because that's what we're talking about right now. In that, I'm 100% using MSK's comments about this version of Joker, which is in my opinion the Slipknot Joker, which is when
Slipknot Joker.
MSK referred to him. It is better though. The Slipknot version is better than what is it? 6ix9ine? Was that rapper
Tekashi,
that chuyaron en todo mundo?
Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, Tekashi 6ix9ine version of Joker. I think it's better. Outside of that, he's obviously doing a Ledger-ish version as well. Obviously, and that's where MSK is mad. And I love the Heath Ledger Joker too. That is my favorite Joker. Period. I do like the Joaquin Phoenix one as well, but my favorite, obviously that's one of my favorite, DC movies. Period is Dark Knight. Is the Heath Ledger version, but I don't want to see it impersonated. That's why the Joaquin Joker is awesome because he's not doing that and still managed to give us a Joker. Here he's like still mixing it and he's using the Ledger thing. The only thing I would say, and it's sad because it would have been better if it was a better Joker. I do like what Snyder's vision was for that moment, that dialogue. From what I understand, and it makes sense when you do watch the scene. I did watch that scene again. And I didn't mind it for this reason. When you read what it is, the Robin that was killed in Batman v Superman, that they show the ha 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 ha. This is pretty dark. It's the Dick Grayson Robin. So there was never a Damian. There was never a Tim Drake. There was never a Jason Todd. First Robin out the gate got killed by Joker and Harley together. And it's pretty wicked that on top of that, he revenge killed Harley. And Harley, while dying, says, well, I beg you, make sure you kill him too. And then he promised that he would. And in that whole scene of like, and and that's where he cursed, of course. Oh, you go Batman. Yeah. He says fuck, but that I will kill you. And I think it's pretty cool, the concept like, hey, he's having to make a team of whatever's left, which means if it's Deathstroke who's tried to kill him and Joker who killed his Robin, like I have to make a team of whatever's left to fight for this planet. It's pretty cool. Now you have this mixed marvel of people. You got the Ezra Miller Flash, and now he just has peach fuzz on his face. And okay, this is fantastic. The Cyborg actually looks cooler in the Nightmare, in my opinion, than the Cyborg in the rest of the film.
I could agree
Deathstroke's
with
a really
that.
good Deathstroke. Yeah, I don't know why. What's her name now? The Aquaman. Mira is British in this
She's
version.
British. Also, I think she was hanging
it
out
wasn't an Aquaman,
at the coast. She was hanging out at the other coast.
Hey there, go! I'm gonna get revenge for what he did to that author.
She got so mad that her accent came out.
Such a Liverpool, hardcore British accent. But like overall, like I get what the scene was going at. It's a pretty cool concept. We saw in the Cyborg Flash of the Future with Superman holding Lois's burnt to a crisp body, and obviously that's what Darkseid holding in on to turn him into his minion, basically.
Yeah, the death of Lewis.
It has some oomph to it. But the thing is that it's Zack Snyder. Like they gave him money, and he was able to get that group of actors to come back and give him a thing to kind of like, hey, so you all know this is the thing you're not gonna get, And I'll be honest, it's like, well, the thing you're gonna give me, I would have watched it, and it would be the same as this. I like some stuff overall. Another bad attempt. And that's just what I personally feel. A lot of people, they want this to come back, and they really feel that that's going to be the greatest thing ever, and that's what you're going to see. And like, again, it's too rushed. You're going to go to an alternate parallel future, and we still haven't gotten a unified, true Justice League film.
Yeah,
and,
Listen, to me in that scene, like
No, really.
Jared Leto. Anyways, obviously I didn't like Jared Leto's Joker, but beyond that, I see this group. I see Cyborg. He could do things to help Batman save the world. The Flash could do things. Deathstroke could do things. Mira, all right, whatever, she could help out. Why is the Joker in that group?
He's got bombs in his pockets.
Yeah, he's got cards.
Yeah, no. Like, why is he in there? Like, out of everyone, like, he's like, oh, I just want to just kill him already. Like, at this point, just kill him, right?
Have you played with the Joker on the DC versus
in Injustice or Mortal Kombat?
Injustice? Have you played
Mortal Kombat 11?
He's amazing.
He's pretty wicked, man.
He's an amazing character. Amazing character. He's got bang guns, and it's amazing.
I don't like. First of all, that scene, the way it was shot, it was. I mean, I hated it. I didn't like that scene at all.
You can say
it was bad. It was bad.
Didn't they do the Mexico Middle East filter that you always hate?
That filter, yep.
Yeah. I mean, that's a post-apocalyptic filter as well. But
it's the same filter.
It's the same filter. But it's not even that. It was just the way that it was shot. But I mean, Jared Leto's it was better, and this kind of encompasses the whole feeling of this movie, right? It's better than the Joss cut, but Justice League should have been it should have been Avengers level good, and it's not.
Another thing that bothered me, and I don't know why, and this is nitpicking, obviously, but why is Batman wearing a mask by that time?
Yeah, no kidding.
Like, wouldn't he be cool already, like, without the mask and just like, if you want to put the goggles on him?
It's ballistic. It's ballistic, and it's a comic book movie.
And I mean, there's dust, right? He didn't want to get it in his eyes and stuff, whatever. But Leto's Joker, goggles. I don't like it.
He could be wearing goggles.
Listen, that whole scene.
He has goggles. They're on his forehead. It's like people who it's in the sun and they wear the cap backwards, and they're like, it's sun in my eyes. Like, we'll turn the cap around.
Yeah. I mean, that scene, whatever, man. That scene was bad. And then to top it off, they bring back Martian Manhunter to close the movie, and I'm like,
I'm watching right now. Better than Thanos. I got the Darkseid and Granny Goodness, and this is so much better than Darkseid. I mean, than Thanos.
Well, Darkseid looked cool. That guy's comment was stupid, but I'm saying Darkseid did look cool, right?
No, he looks good.
He did.
It looks good.
Cool.
He didn't look bad, but we're never going to see Darkseid again. So it's not
exactly.
Whatever.
Well, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. At this point, I really don't know, guys. I don't know if they're actually going to give this guy another 3 cuts.
Yeah, I didn't think this was going to happen. And be honest, I'll be honest. I didn't think this would happen. I didn't think he'd ever.
I don't know. I don't know what the
truckload of money.
Yeah.
A truckload of money to finish a movie and give his own version when they already had a run. Like, I'll be honest, that is surprising.
And that's cool. I mean, I'm glad they did that, though. I'm glad that we got a better version of that. Because, again, that Joss cut is... I mean, I wish you guys would see it now, because that whole ending with the flowers growing, and it's just bad. It's bad. The dialogue, every line in that movie is everyone checking out Wonder Woman. Every single line.
I'll tell you, Any smart director that's really unsure of his film, you know what? You shelf it all. Tell the studio, hey, I need another like 20 million so I can make a really bad version of this. And then I'm going to blame you for it. And then 2 years later, we'll cut this version.
Yeah.
So no matter what, it'll be good.
I think Warner Brothers' mistake was not letting Zack Snyder do his thing to begin with.
No.
They put a
Warner
mandate.
Brothers was not giving him the easy way out. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. No, and they gave him. Listen, they gave him the mandate pretty much. Hey, you need to cut this to 2 hours or nothing, right? So I think at this point, Zack Snyder was like, "Oh, I'm getting this opportunity. I'm going to do a 4-hour opportunity." If you would have just told Zack Snyder to cut his thing the way he wanted to, I guarantee you it wouldn't have been 4 hours.
Honestly, I think the perfect world, the alternate reality where they have an incredible DC cinematic universe here is the reality where Warner Brothers would have been smart, saw how damn good Man of Steel was, how much money it made, how much it was praised by the nerd and fan and comic book fan community, and been like, you know what, we're gonna pay you, Christopher Nolan, and Zack Snyder. You're gonna continue to produce, full produce, not executive produce, full produce. You're gonna continue to direct under his production, and we're gonna give you 8 films to do this. I think we'd have an incredible.
I don't think Nolan would have jumped on that.
These scenes.
I actually think they gave him that opportunity, and Nolan wanted to do it. He didn't want to do superhero movies.
I don't think Nolan would have done that. I don't think Nolan would have done that.
More of the story is the studios need to let the directors do their thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
give them the time they need. The money, you're gonna make it back. You know what I mean? They're asking for $2 billion and they can't guarantee $4 billion in the box office. Obviously, you're not gonna do that. But in superhero budgets, you already know you're gonna bust over 100 mil. But you already know you're gonna make more than half a billion. Opening weekend, no matter what, and if it's good enough after that, you'll reach close to the billion mark just from the see it again.
They just honestly, what they needed to do, and you brought it up at sometimes at some point tonight that you brought it up where it's like, all right, we got to see another version of this movie after we saw Wonder Woman, after we saw Aquaman.
Yeah.
So next time when they do a shared universe, hey, how about you just do those movies first? Right?
Exactly.
Like, don't rush into the second movie being Batman v Superman. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
at least the core. If you want to give me a hardcore Justice League movie, and almost like, I wouldn't say like Avengers 1, but kind of get me closer to an Infinity War Endgame by yada-yadaing some characters, I can get with that. You give me 6 solid, got their own films, build up core group, and then you want to throw in a Martian Manhunter, and then throw in maybe an Oliver Queen and Green Arrow or whatever, and throw in some extras in there, and then be like, okay, we're kind of yada-yadaing these guys, but you already really care about these characters. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's what they did with Hawkeye and exactly. Black Widow and stuff like that. Right now they're getting their stuff, right? Now they're getting their movies. But I mean, again, it's just poor planning on WB.
Hopefully, we're still young enough, maybe in another decade or so.
They're going to reboot it within our generation.
I'm not doing it. I'm not gonna sit there. No, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not.
No, they're gonna listen. They're gonna reboot it within our generation.
If it's Snyder in it, I'm not doing it. I'm telling you right now.
No, it won't be Snyder.
I am done. I am done with Snyder. I'm telling you right now.
Well, listen,
Snyder. You hear it?
No, it won't be Snyder.
You hear it from
listen, it's gonna either.
F. Snyder.
Yeah, right now, what is it? J.J. Abrams is working on a Superman script. Yeah. We don't know if it's going to be Henry Cavill or if it's going to be someone else.
I think he's going to do a one shot. He should do a one shot. I would like to see a J.J. I mean, well, actually, didn't J.J. Abrams produce Brightburn?
Yes.
J.J. Abrams did. That was James Gunn. That was James Gunn that did Brightburn.
Oh, James Gunn. James Gunn.
That was James Gunn. I'm sorry.
Let me tell you now, that's technically a Superman one shot.
I believe his brothers wrote it. Two of his brothers wrote it.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, James Gunn is another option. I mean, I know
look, J.J. Abrams is going to have a hard time because the community of Star Wars is really, really mad at him for the Star Wars.
Yeah.
So he's going to have a hard time making anything nerd related as it is right now. So I don't know where his budget is going to stand with this movie. So
give it to James Cameron. They'll give it to James Cameron.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of options. I mean, I know at one point they were thinking Edgar Wright, and I mean, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen to DC going forward? But Black Adam
I
casting
need to
came
buy their own
out
studio.
with
That's what I need to do.
Pierce Brosnan as Dr.
Yes.
Fate. So that looks pretty cool.
That looks damn good.
Yeah.
I like that.
How do you
that casting-
feel? How do you feel about that with
Dr. Fate.
Yeah, Dr. Fate.
I like that casting.
You like that casting?
I want to see that.
That's a good casting. I think that movie's gonna be pretty good. The only problem with that movie is they announced it in 2012 and it's almost 2022.
Taking
So it's like 10
forever
years
to-
to even start production. I mean, come on, but I think that movie should be good. Shazam is one of the best DC movies.
Christmas movies.
That's scary.
Yeah, it
That's
is a
scary.
Christmas movie, but it's one of the better ones, and it's crazy
It
because
is.
on the DC universe, it's Man of Steel, the first Wonder Woman, and Shazam for me,
Yep.
right?
I agree.
I agree.
I agree.
That's my
That
count,
is
too.
my take 100%.
That's my exact count.
So it's like, wow, Shazam is number 3, and it's crazy,
Yep.
but
Let me tell you now, that's gonna get that right there. That's gonna get a lot of hate.
I
from
don't
people
care.
listening to this
I don't
episode
care.
because
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
there's people who love Aquaman,
Don't
and there's-
care.
I don't think there's a lot of people who love 1984. I doubt it. I seriously doubt
Aquaman
it.
was all right, but again, the CGI, the effects and it was kind of rough in some things.
Jesus.
And then Batman v Superman, and look,
Yeah.
we got this, and that's
Yeah.
where we're gonna get the hate because how can that at least not be in the top 3? Yep, I said it. I agree. Shazam is better than this.
Shazam, yeah,
It is better than this.
I
It
enjoyed
is.
Shazam, and at that point, for me, it was like I think I saw Shazam and Captain Marvel around the same time period. And I was like, I really like Shazam way more.
Yeah.
But get back on topic. Anyone have a nerdcessity? Because we're closing up into 2 hours here.
I mean, if you have something or not, I just want to give something Zack Snyder friendly.
No.
Oh, you want to do a
No.
Zack Snyder nerdcessity?
Because here's the thing. I don't want people to think
I'm
like
out.
I don't hate Zack Snyder, and I'm not
out.
anti Zack Snyder movies.
No, you
And-
don't. Yopis
Yeah.
does.
Yeah, no,
I am
he doesn't
not.
either because I think
You know I am
think
not.
either the movies.
You know I
Either
am
the
hates
movies
not.
I'll bring up, he likes also. I'll be honest. I think he also likes these two
Listen,
movies. It's
Go
gonna be
back.
Sucker
Look, I
Punch.
don't want to cut you off, but look, go back to the 135 mark, and I believe the exact words was "F you, Zack Snyder," coming from Yopis. I'm not sure,
Right.
but
Yeah,
it
because
could have been
I'm
someone
gonna
else.
What?
But
Let me clarify. F you, Snyder, with my DC.
with my DC movies.
oh, okay,
I agree.
okay. All right.
Is
There
that
we go.
better? Can that
But-
clarify it?
That's
Does that
better.
clarify
That's
for
better.
people?
Okay.
That's better. That's better.
So I want to give a Zack Snyder necessity. I'm going to bring up 2 films that we've brought up in other stuff and other things. I think one of them is the true necessity, especially because it's very in the same. And we've brought it up earlier, in this episode. And then Yopis can go ahead and give our Instagram and all that information and social medias, and then hopefully MSK can end us on a more positive note with something completely unrelated. But I'm gonna say
good luck with that.
Dawn of the Dead is a great film by Zack Snyder. I love it. I'm looking forward to Army of the Dead. I do like that kind of cheese in my zombie movies. And so I'm looking for that Netflix. But my nerdcessity that I want to give Zack Snyder friendly, that we brought up earlier, hands down, Watchmen. You want to see what he did here work. You want to see this formula be a spot on, great superhero film that you can enjoy all the way through and not nitpick and complain because it works. And that right there is Watchmen. It's that simple. Watchmen is a great film.
I agree with you, but a lot of people still complain about Zack Snyder and
Oh,
the
no,
Watchmen.
I know. I'm sure there is. And
But,
those are the Zack Snyder haters because I honestly feel, and then because he did such a good job with that film, we were able to get an incredible series, granted by those, different showrunner and writer and director and all that.
Damon Lindelof,
because they had a tone to work with and characters that were so well developed in that film to then bring over to that series on HBO when now it's HBO Max. But yeah, I feel Watchmen, all the sucker punch moments of ballads and things like that, they make sense. A lot of the character. Oh, I just realized now Barry Allen's dad is the Dr. Manhattan from Watchmen. I'm seeing that scene right now.
Which is
That
recasted. He's recasted.
yeah.
it.
Oh, they recasted something. Here we go. That's gonna be fantastic. But yeah. Oh no. And then that's right. Also in the series of Watchmen, you had who's Alfred in this movie. So a lot of moving around from Watchmen in connection to this Zack Snyder's Justice League.
That's a good.
So,
That's
yeah,
a
I
good.
strongly recommend Watchmen.
I love Dawn of the. I'm sorry, but I love Dawn of the Dead,
Dawn of the Dead.
and the director's
I love
cut
that
of that movie is actually really good too. Like I really love the director's cut.
if you
That's the
like
one in the
zombie
mall, right?
movies-
That's the one they're stuck in the mall.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, it's a
that
remake.
is the good
it's a
one, yeah.
remake, but a great remake.
Yeah,
Usually
it was a
remakes
great
aren't
remake.
the best thing. I like that way better than the original, hands down. If I gotta
Yeah.
watch
I
one of the
agree.
Dawn of the Deads again right now, I'm watching that one. I'm not watching Cesar Romero's, which I mean, not Cesar Romero, George Romero. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm not watching George Romero's.
It's all right, man.
version.
Family thing.
Yeah, no, that's a good Joker. Anyway,
Oh boy.
with the little mustache. See, and they wouldn't CGI his mustache neither. They just put makeup over it.
They put makeup over it. That's
Put
it.
makeup over it. That's it.
They
That's all you gotta do.
Jared Leto.
But-
Anyways, yeah.
Oh, God. So yeah, no, that Dawn of the Dead movie too. Yeah, it's it's a double necessity just for Zack Snyder's benefit. He has two great, incredible movies. I am not a fan of any of his music videos. I tried. I watched all of them. I'm actually
You watched him?
Yeah, I did. I did
Why?
to see if any of them were worth.
Bro, that's research.
Why would you do
That
that?
is
Saying to watch,
research.
but
That's
no.
what that is. Research, sir.
Wow.
Research.
That's.
He also has a short. He has a short on YouTube, about 4 minutes long. I think it's called.
No, don't be spraying that around, man. People need 4 minutes of their life. Don't do that to them.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
That's true. Yeah, it's not good
they
either.
already took-
That's not good either.
They already took 4
Yeah.
hours from us. You're gonna give them 4 extra minutes?
Yes.
No.
Yes. So far, we're about to spend 2 hours complaining about 4 hours of content.
Yeah, I agree. We should have just watched the movie and watched it straight on.
should've.
We should've.
Mystery Science
That would have
Theater.
been amazing. Well,
Yeah.
let me tell everybody where they can follow us and listen to us. So you ready? Please listen to us for our podcast here. Yeah. All right. Now, I'm just kidding. You can listen to us by typing www.fanaticallycorrect.com. That will direct you straight to our PodBean site. There you will have the opportunity to follow, like, and rate us. You can also listen to us on our Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, just a few, just a little bit to name a few of them. But if you want to listen, if you want us in your favorite podcast and we're not on it, please give us a email at contactfancor@gmail.com. You can also follow us on our social media websites, which is using the ad handle at FanCorrect for Twitter and Instagram, or just search for Fanatically Correct on Facebook and YouTube. And apparently we're also on Discord. So if you want our Discord, we gotta send you we'll send you a link. Give us a DM. We'll send you the link. Then you can sign up. Apparently it's got like a 24-hour thing where the link just disappears. So just DM us and we'll send you the actual link. Other than that, you can obviously call us at 786-704-8404, and there you can leave us a voicemail. But make sure and ask your cell phone provider if that call is going to cost you, because we are not paying for it. I repeat, we cannot pay for it. Do you listen to us? You see how
Yes.
broke this
No, not
podcast
gonna happen.
sounds?
Not
We
gonna
can't
happen.
afford you.
Not gonna happen. Yeah, and then little by little, we're getting to this other stuff like Discord and Twitch and YouTube, and so poco, bear with us. We'll get there. We're gonna have some fun episodes coming up soon, because
We'll get
have
there.
deemed and promised that episode 55. I think this is episode 52, so we're almost there. We gotta do a Billy Zane episode. We're doing.
So what are we
What's
doing?
happening?
We're gonna watch
A
all
Billy
his
Zane
movies,
episode.
or
Yeah, I'm down with that.
We can do a watch party.
I just
Billy
watched
Zane
Demon
movies.
Knight. That's funny. I just watched Demon Knight yesterday. I had it on the background because I think it was on FX or something like that on regular cable while I was working. From Tales from
Watch
the
all
Crypt.
his movies is kind of like,
I don't think
hard to
watching
do
Titanic, though.
nowadays.
I don't-
Let's watch all of them.
Yeah,
Let's watch all of
it's just
them.
hard
can
to
I
I'll watch
do.
Back to the
just
Future.
The Billy Zane scenes
I'll
from
watch
Titanic?
Back to the Future.
Yeah, but the thing is, like,
That's right.
getting him in all the movies itself of his are gonna be like kind of hard.
Okay, look, we'll get his best
Phantom?
movies. All right, so
Yeah,
we'll get
Phantom,
Back
do
to the
that.
Future.
Yeah.
The Phantom.
This guy said Back to the
his
Future.
scenes. He's in the movie. He's in the movie. All right,
His
he's
scenes
in
Titanic.
He's in
His scenes
those
in
movies.
Demon Knight.
The
Yeah.
good scenes of Titanic. Can we close out the episode? Let's close out the episode.
That's what it is.
Okay,
You have
let's-
nothing else?
we're gonna
Wasn't
close
there something else?
Yeah, I
you
don't
wanted to
got
bring up?
anything else. Nah, we're good. All right, guys.
So, yeah, that's it. That's we're wrapping up this is the FanCor cut review of Zack Snyder's Justice League. This is Omega saying peace.
MSK, peace out.
Yo, peace.
And there you have it, folks. This has been Fanatically Correct. Until next time, you crazy kids. Signing off.
I hate you so much right now.